Welcome to Heart of the Haven, an education series about domestic and family violence and how we can help. It's a pervasive issue that knows no boundaries, impacting people from all walks of life. My name's Samantha Anderson and I'm from the Haven Nepean Women's Shelter. And today I'm joined by Sam Campbell, Executive Officer, Client Services from the Haven. Sam brings with her over 10 years' experience in the domestic and family violence sector, specialising in working with women and children. Together, we'll take you into the heart of change, looking at what the first 72 hours at the Haven is like. Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. I'm really looking forward to the opportunity today just to look at what happens in that first 72 hours. So from your perspective, what can a woman and a child or her children expect from her caseworker in that first 72 hours?
So when a woman and her children come to the Haven, we talk about the first day with her right before she steps foot at shelter. So day one is what we call intake day, which means the family is going to come on site to the shelter. But before we even get to that stage, we have to go through quite a few security protocols. The reason for that is that we know with domestic and family violence that men may be tracking their partners and or children, and that can be through a series of different ways. Not only her car or her vehicle that she might be driving, but it could be her Opal card if she's catching public transport to get to us, or her bank card to see where she's making purchases nearby. So what we do is meet a woman and her children off-site first with all of their belongings in a public but safe space. That way she gets to know who we are, and we go through a series of questions around safety and a bit of a checklist to ensure that everything is safe in terms of her devices and tracking and monitoring before her transporting her and the children on site. After we've done all of those checks, we confirm with her that she still thinks the Haven is the right fit for her, given all of the circumstances of what's going on for her. And then we'll either transport her or she'll follow us back in her car to the actual shelter. Once she arrives at shelter, her room will have already been set up. So the first thing we do is get them to leave all the bags in the car and take them through the shelter or the unit that they've been allocated to. Each unit or shelter room that's allocated to that family is set up specifically for that family. So we've got welcome packs on the beds that are age appropriate or that may have some significant sensory cues for families. An example of that is when the children first come in, we have an activity pack on their bed because the kids are sometimes a little bit excited but also a bit nervous because they don't know what to expect. So we have things like colouring or toys or activity sets so that the kids can go straight into this bag of fun and have something to do and something to occupy them whilst the caseworker sits with a woman, introduces her to other women in the house or the staff that might be around. We often will have a second staff member helping at the time, and they'll help bring the bags in from the car into the unit. We, where possible, will have either our youth worker or our family caseworker or child support worker on site so that the kids have someone that they can chat with and meet straight away. That first day really is just settling in time. We go through a lot of the logistics of shelter life and a lot of safety protocols, but then we try and do some really nice grounding exercises too. So give them some time to settle into their room, give them some time to meet other people, make a cup of tea, get to know the space a little bit. We know that what that does for families is make them feel safe really quickly and provide all of those non-verbal cues to really slow down their nervous system on that first day, because anxiety and fear can be running a little bit high on that first day. Then over day 2 and 3, what the family will do is meet all of the different caseworkers on site, and in particular their primary caseworker. So each woman will be allocated a primary caseworker that will support her right through her stay, and each of the children will have a specialist worker, either our youth worker, family worker, or child support worker. And they'll meet and start to talk through what are some of their initial needs in that first 72 hours. The other thing we do is provide all of their basic needs, so that if they either don't want to or don't have the capacity to be able to leave in that first 72 hours because they want to be grounded and feeling safe, or it's not safe for them to go out in that first 72 hours, we've provided everything, including food, toiletries, linen, kids' school packs, anything that a woman could possibly need, access to internet, a safe phone, so that she can still study or work by distance, so that the kids can still keep studying if they need to. So those first 72 hours is really that safety and grounding for us.
Yeah, yeah. So with that safety aspect, how do you build that and that element of trust with your clients?
So we have this saying that's called doing work and being with. So the doing work is the logistics of casework, right? Here's the tasks and the things we've got to do, and here's the goals you want to work to. But a big portion of what we do is being with. And that's all of the non-verbal cues. So the way our space is set up is trauma-informed. And what that means is that we have sensory cues around sound, visual, tactile, lots of sensory cues to tell families when they come in that this is a safe and calm environment. We have the back door open so they can hear the bird song. Staff are in and around the space in a really respectful way. Things like we tread lightly through the space, and staff are very considerate of their tone of voice and the language that they use. All of that is those really soft, calming, non-verbal cues to say we're people that you can trust. The other thing is we do safety right up front. Safety is the bread and butter of what we do. So the first thing we do is be really clear with her around safety and what that looks like, and get her involvement in what she's already been doing to keep herself safe, because we know she's done so much already. And then we're just going to add to that according to what our experience and expertise might be, but also what the needs of living in a shelter or the units might be for safety. So those are two big things. Yeah.
What happens if a family decides that the Haven just isn't the right fit for them? Or is there ever a reason why the Haven wouldn't be a good fit for them?
So shelter living can be tough. We have a couple of different models. One is a shared model where you're sharing space with other families, and one is a units where the family will have their own units. And sometimes people will come in and realise that it's not the right fit for a whole heap of different reasons. The big one that we usually get is that unexpected safety challenges or safety barriers. So as an example, we've had a family come in, and because we don't disclose the address before they come on site, once we transported her to the shelter, she realised that her in-laws actually lived just around the corner. And so very quickly we had to work with some of our sister shelters in the Women's Community Shelter Network to get her housed in one of our other shelters, because we wanted her to not only come to the shelter and feel safe, but be able to go to the local shops, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and what have women and children shared with you about their experiences in that first 72 hours?
So our clients like to joke that on day one of a new woman coming in or a new family coming in, that they wait till all the caseworkers go home and then they actually do what they've named an empowerment circle. So it started very early on in the days of the Haven shelter, where women that had been in the shelter for a little while would welcome a new woman in. And once all the kids were to bed and the caseworkers had gone home, they'd make cups of tea or any kind of drink that a woman would like, and they'd sit around and they'd share. And what that does for a woman on day one, or what women have reflected to us, is straight away they went, someone gets me, they believe me, I'm not alone. And then the youth started doing it. So I remember really clearly this point where we had two 16-year-olds and a 17-year-old in the shelter. And when one of the 16-year-olds was coming in, the other youth said, okay, mums, go out the back. We've got to show her what's what. And all of the mums did as they were told, and they went out the back and they made the mother of that family feel welcome. And the teenagers really made this new teenager feel so at ease in the space, and told her, this is who the youth worker is, and told her where to find everything, and like where the local skate park was, and all those kinds of things to really make her feel safe and supported. So it's not only what we do as staff and the way we set up the space, but it's about building that foundation of trust so that women start to do that for each other and young people start to do that for each other. So I think The main thing I would take away from that in terms of what clients say to us is that they feel heard and believed by others that are in that space with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today, Sam. I think it's been really insightful understanding what that first 72 hours looks like and helps to demystify that for anyone who may need support. So, if you do need support or you know someone who needs support, please visit our website, www.thehaven.org.au. On our contacts list, we have a range of services that you can reach out to, including self-referring to The Haven. So please visit that site if you need help or you know someone who needs help. Thank you so much for your time today.